Welcome to the 30-minute ground to standing complete everyday Recode. My name is Coach Bam, joined today with Coach Carly, and we're going to take you through this 30-minute Recode. This is a special Recode because we do this Recode every single day, and we'd like for all of you to be able to have this in your tool case, in your toolkit whenever needed. It takes 30 minutes, but you feel amazing if you need to go throughout your day or if you want to continue working out after this. Today we're going to be doing some groundwork and then getting into some standing work. So you'll need whatever tools you need for the ground. You can have bands or some elevated surfaces to put your hand on. And then when we get to the standing world, we do recommend that you work on a high level support. So that's all we need to get this 30-minute Recode done, of course, as well as some space to move with us.
All right, we're gonna get started with just our basic go-to standard rocking drill. We're gonna perform that for 2 straight minutes. So get your setup, toes can be flat, pressed against the floor, or you can go to that tucked variation, and we'll kick it off here in 3, 2, and 1. 2 minutes of just some really nice rocking. Every day this Recode might feel a little different depending on what your body's presenting. There's some days we really ease our way into this, a little bit more passive, a little bit more opening, lengthening. And there's other days like right now, we want to be really active with it. So really maximizing your pressure. That's why we're also using the band to help us out a little bit as well. Just makes it a little extra spicy for this entire Recode.
With each exercise that we're going to be doing, we're staying in this 2-minute interval time. So it's 2 minutes to give yourself some good work. You don't have to maintain a consistent rep or even consistent pressure. For 2 minutes, we just want to hold a certain shape of an exercise or a position and give ourselves 2 minutes of really good work within that time frame.
Good, 1 minute down with this first exercise here. 1 more minute to go. Just start to really open things up. Checking in with the body.
With those rockers, we're beginning to cultivate pressure in our backside, warming up our hips, getting them prepared to load and get to a standing variation. Our next exercise is going to be rockers with a kick out. So we're taking this load back and then doing a release in, starting to add some rotation to the pressure in our hips.
Good, we're gonna transition in about 15 more seconds. Let's see if we can just continue this flow here. As always, take breaks as needed, but if you're feeling good and you're in it, when we transition on that forward motion, just go right into kickouts. In 3, 2, 1 on your next rep, just start to add that nice variation, that nice fly.
Again, 2 minutes of kickouts to give your body what it needs. We're starting to feel our hip sockets open on the way back and then start to close as we go forward. It's more about what's happening at the hip level than it is about completing the repetition of pushing the legs to the outside. We don't want to feel anything in the front of our hips, so if you are needing some extra space today, please put yourself on an elevated structure as you're working.
Yeah, sometimes people like to really force and think that they need to get as wide as possible with this heel. It's not about that, just whatever your hips are presenting. Go right to that wall if you can. Might be small for you today, maybe it is a little bigger. 1 minute down, 1 more minute here, and then we're just gonna take this rocker and again, continue the momentum into our side to side alternating rockers.
All of these exercises are designed to make you have more space and have more ability in your body. So we're not looking at making each one of these exercises, completing them at a certain standard or proficiency. Really, your goal should be after these 30 minutes, I should feel really good, a lot better than when I first started. So whatever you need to do to make that happen, please do that.
Good, we're gonna transition here to that third exercise, moving right along side to side rocking in 3, 2, and on your next repetition, go right into whichever alternating side you'd like to start on. Just rocking back and forth, forward and back, forward and back.
These are one of my favorite exercises because they feel the most forgiving, but also like I get the most access to my hips.
You can really scrub out. If one side feels a little sticky, you can really grind in there. If you walk your hands to one side, you can start to incorporate some good lat stretching. Pay attention to the head, pay attention to the neck, and just flowing from side to side. Don't worry if one side feels different than the other, totally normal. We'll have an opportunity in our next block of work to really isolate one side at a time. We're gonna go into some solo single side rocking right now. We're kind of flowing from right to left, left to right, but we're gonna get into some isolated single side rocking and then staying on whatever side you start on and grinding out some good pigeon or crawl out variation. So a lot of single side stuff coming up here. We're gonna start on our right side, but you are more than welcome to start on whatever side you'd like to.
If you do have a band at the end of this minute, is a good time to free yourself from the resistance band.
Top of the minute here. Good. Again, like Bam said, free yourself from the resistance band. If you like to, go right into that single side. If you don't have a band, we'll just jump right into it as well once we got that band off of. So we're just gonna go into some single side rocking here. At this point, feel free to add however much of a challenge as you like to, however much pressurizing and loading by lifting up the left leg and adding just another little layer of this single side loading.
If today you're just hanging out in this single side, just both legs on the ground, both feet on the ground, just pressurizing and giving your attention to one hip, that's okay. If you want to take it up a level, then we can elevate our opposite leg like Coach Carly was saying. And then if we really want to do some work, we can start to scrub and out to in on that leg. That right foot is going to load back into 7 o'clock and then release into 5 o'clock. Sometimes it helps to bring that rotation, that movement, and sometimes it helps just to find pressure or even hold an ISO.
Yeah, every day with this daily Recode, that's the point. It might look a little bit different. It's okay, it's the point. Good, 30 more seconds on this first side, and then we're just going to get a nice big corner involved and go into our pigeon on this single side. Staying on the same side. No switching yet. It's gonna get a little crazy, a little extra crazy here.
Just like the single side, we've got the pigeons. You can hang out in an ISO pigeon, a tracer, or progress into a crawl out variation.
Good, let's kick back here just to get us locked in and then feed your body what it needs. I like to start in a little bit of an ISO, find it, then I'll start to add those pulses, those pullbacks, finding the top of my foot into the mat, finding the shin. Really, there should be no irritation in the knee. It's everything flushing out on the shin and back. You can keep that back foot down, elevated, or add that half crawl out variation as we get deeper into this.
We'll keep reinforce this, but as you notice, the theme of this is let yourself fluidly move from one exercise to the next. We're hoping to start to break the mold of reps in certain exercises and just get into, well, I'm just loading my right hip and I'm loading it with my leg that's crisscrossed or behind, and I can do all types of variant motions. I can stretch up, I can come down here, but the sensation and the pressure that I'm feeling on the side that I'm working, I'm going to maintain that as my compass for what kind of movements and what type of increase or decrease in pressures do I want to create.
We like to call this, especially with this daily recode, that flow state. So yes, it is a recode and you've been building up week by week, but now we get to have fun with it. We get to apply and just move really nice and smoothly through every single exercise that we've been practicing along the way. Now you just pop on some music, some tunes, whatever you enjoy. Music's a great way to find rhythm without having to think too much about it and just flowing through this stuff. Good, 10 more seconds here, hang in there, and then we'll give this first side a break while we tackle the other side. Good, and shake it out. Let's just find our other hip, our other side, and start to go back to those single side rocking. You might still feel that side you started on pretty intensely. It's okay, just ease into this one with whatever variation feels good right now.
When we make this 30-minute recode a habit, what's nice about it is that you might find that you want to work on your feet. And each exercise, you can bring your awareness to your feet while you're moving, because we're familiar with each one of these exercises. You might wake up and want to reorganize and bring some awareness to your neck and your upper shoulders. There's always a time that you can do that in each one of these exercises. So we don't have to maintain the same focus. We're doing the same movements, but your awareness can change as it needs, depending on what you're feeling that day and also what is available. You might find that one day your hips are on fire, and then another day they're a little bit more quiet. This is really okay. Find what's available and easy for you to really up level and work on.
Good, 30 more seconds, then we'll kick into that first pigeon, and then finding a crawl out if you want to add more of that movement forward and resetting. Sometimes it helps to have so much variation so you can just continue to move without having to completely stop and reset. If you fatigue in one movement, switch to the other, and then back and forth, back and forth. Good, all right, let's kick that trailing leg big up and around, get ourselves in good position. I'll start working through the last 2 minutes here on the ground before we stand to do our upper portion of this, our standing work. That's a better way to do that.
Our standing bi-level
Our
work.
standing work.
It's our standing work. Squats, hinges, and
I
squinges.
was gonna say our upper, but it's really just our standing.
Continuing on this conversation of finding what is accessible to you today and what is easily available to up level and recode. Knowing that can be as simple as this feels really good, and giving yourself permission to, in a situation like this, whatever position you're in, finding what feels really good and feeding that more and more and more. Feed what feels good. Try not to make yourself beholden to this is what it's supposed to look like and what I'm supposed to do in terms of repetitions or whatever. Right now, even Coach Carly and myself, we're trying to hold a standard of these movements so that visually you can follow along. But even right now, I can feel myself wanting to really free flow and like we normally do. So if you find yourself really doing some things that maybe you couldn't even say what they are with your words, this is okay, as long as it feels really good and helpful.
Good, 20 more seconds on this single side work. And then we'll give our bodies a chance to shake it out just a little bit as we transition onto our 2 feet. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Feeling nice and juiced up on the bottom.
I really enjoy using a band, even for our standing hinges, squats, and squinges. Really helps me just pressurize and create wide hips. So we're gonna find our support that we need. We recommend a high level support so that we're looking at like a countertop, a really tall table, or a wall if that's what you have available to you. Something that is easy for you to pull your hips back.
Okay, so we've got our support. We'll kick it off here in about 20 seconds. We're gonna start with our really great access hinge. So find the balls of your feet, use the entire foot as needed right now. We're gonna start cranking away some hinging for 2 minutes, and then we'll progress from there. So nice, good setup. And let's begin. Let's start pulling the hips back and high to the sky. Pressurize from the feet, pull with the hips. Again, trying not to come out of these repetitions and finish at the top of the hip thrust. Really just staying in it, flowing through this movement.
Hips should be really accessible to you right now. We did a lot of work on the ground. So now we're taking our hamstrings, our low backs, and our feet, and we're asking them to join in on the muscle party, join in on the movement celebration, focusing on getting the hamstrings and feet and a low back to really feed into the strength of your hips right now. So if you need to do isos, do that. If you need to do micro movements, do that. If you need to move really slow, let's try that.
Good, 1 more minute here, and then we're just gonna take this access squinge and open into an access squat. So we're practicing pulling, nice length out of our hamstrings, everything coming in, and then we'll do the opposite with the squat. We're still pulling back, still finding some length and space, but we're just opening very slightly. Good, let's just continue. Find that good pressurizing from the back in the hinge first, and then open into your baby squat here. And just like Bam said, kind of finesse and find what position feels good. Maybe it's just a hold today, seeing how much you can pressurize out and pull back. Maybe it's little baby pulses. Keep the knees close to those laces or above the laces if we can. Just micro movements.
Really good to think about this access squat as first access hinge and then an opening, loading back. Really common, it's easy for us to just open things and let it bleed to the front. We don't want to be playing that game. Pull back, find the glutes and hamstrings, and then start to add some rotation opening. Owning that movement back and open is so important for your deep squat, for some really good loading, not just creating the shapes that are needed, but really funneling pressure back and then open.
That's why that band can be really nice. You can just kind of think about pulling back first and then pressing into that band, pressing into that band. Be careful if you feel too much irritation on the outside part of the knees. Make sure the band is in a good spot so you're not just dumping to the outside laterally. Sometimes I can too much of that.
Too much of this.
Yes.
It's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a load back and a little load. You don't need to go wild with it. Just enough to pull back and open. Just like our hinges, just backing in a little, back and open just a little bit.
Good.
Own it.
In 10 seconds, we're then just gonna combine those two movements that we've been practicing, the hinge and the squat, going into our swing. So we're just combining, opening and closing. So let's go ahead and start to incorporate those movements. Our hips are staying back behind us. Open, close, load, leave, or release, land, leave. All the same verbiage here, used to describe the same pattern, I guess. That's a better way to put that. Out to in.
And again, with our squinges, we have our high level support squinge, like really just owning this micro level. But then if you want to make this more of a flexibility, mobility, a bigger movement, we can come all the way down and we can go all the way up. With each movement, make it your own.
Those big squinges are really great if you need some relief. If that lower back is just speaking to you a lot with all the back chain loading we've been doing, really nice way to open things up and ease tension back there.
The difference between the movements that we're doing right now in a Recode setting is that these exercises are designed to serve you. We don't want to flip the script and serve the exercise. I am doing the access squats and I'm going to try and do as many as I can because the access squat is going to give me something. No, we want the access squat to feed our movement and allow the exercise to give us something. It's a little bit of a different mentality. So whatever version of this squinge that you need, whatever version that we do after this, allow it to feed your body. And really, you're the only person that knows exactly what you need.
Good. Now we're gonna move everything to the right and get into our single side loading, just like we did on the ground with pigeons and single side rockers. So we're gonna go right into some drop-in work. So again, we're gonna start on the right side and we're gonna just funnel everything to our single leg. Try at this point to add any variation and as much variation as you'd like to. Maybe it's a standard drop in with that back leg elevated. Maybe it's a little lateral. We've done so many variations over the course of this whole entire Recode process. So feel free to play around with whatever feels good.
Today, you might need a challenge. You might need to challenge your movement, challenge your ability to drop in, or you might need to relax, open up, get things good.
After we hit another minute here of our drop-ins, we're gonna take on this same leg, take that trailing leg, and just continue it into our tracer. So we're gonna have another 2-minute block here before we switch legs. So a lot of repetition, a lot of volume in this standing single leg work here.
You know that you are doing more of this flow state work when you're not even really concerned about what exercise you're doing, but just feeding and funneling the pressure where you need it.
Good, about 20 more seconds, and then we'll start to just continue this pattern here into our tracer. I'm gonna hold it in my drop-in for these last 10 seconds. Pull a little bit more length out. And let's continue this if we can. So we can attach that trailing leg, keep it very small, micro, or you can continue it into that crawler, whichever variation you want today. And to continue on what Bam was saying about just finding this flow here, not really thinking about which exercise come next. We follow this structured list frequently, but there's times when we'll mix it up. We'll start maybe standing a little, add some variation. Maybe we'll go from drop in back down to the ground. You can play around with it to See what feels good and what works for you. We like to go from ground to standing mostly, but feel free to mix it up, whatever you need. Getting a little spicy.
Yeah, should be getting pretty intense here. Even if you're holding micros and isos and doing what feels good, we're still working.
Oh yeah. Don't let our calm demeanor fool you. It burns. Good, keep it up 30 seconds. And then we'll hit that other side. Check in with different parts of your body, but then keep those eyes straight ahead, looking forward, ready to go after this. 3, 2, and switch it up. Shake it out. Let's hit that other side. We're almost there, doing great. One more 4-minute block standing up, get into those drop-ins, and then we'll round it out with some nice tummy time to back end this entire recode.
It's not that much, especially after you get done doing just a 30-minute block. But when done day in and day out, 4, 5, 6 times a week, it can have a really big effect on your body and your movement. You'll notice small changes as you return to the same exercises, and will give you some more insight into how your body is doing today. And maybe if it's ready for some intense work, or if it needs some more rest.
Good, 30 seconds. We'll get into those tracers one more time. Good, last 10. Smallest of movements can really be the most intense. Don't underestimate it. Here we go, let's continue tracing, just adding a little bit more of that dynamic movement in there. Ooh. Feeling a lot.
And spicy.
Good, last minute here. Woo, my goodness.
Last 30 seconds. Nice work, everybody. In 20 seconds, we're gonna end today with tummy time. Tummy time is our personal favorite. But if you prefer to be lying on your back or on your side, please do that. Maybe switch it up if you're used to doing tummy time. And we're gonna end in 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. For this tummy time or back lying, we're gonna take 2 minutes to decompress and to take all of that work and let it settle into the body. So tummy time. Coach Carly, I'm gonna direct us through the decompression here. So let's find ourselves either on our stomach or on our backs. The first thing we wanna do is tuck our toes underneath. Pull our heels away from our body so we start to feel a little bit of stretch in the backside. Calves, hamstrings, and hips should all be lit up right now. Internally rotate your thighs so they're pointing towards each other. Then we want to take our rib cage and pull it down so that it's parallel with the floor and we don't feel our low ribs stabbing into the floor. Then we're going to pull our nose away from the floor, the back of our head away from the floor, and even our throat away so we can engage our entire cervical spine in the space between our shoulder blades. Let's reach our hands either behind us, overhead, or in front of us if we're on our stomachs. Wherever we are, we want to create pressure with our fingertips. So either fingertips are grabbing an imaginary ball or grabbing the floor in front of us. Let's take our first inhale through our nose, expanding our shoulder blades wide and letting the crown of our head reach tall. And on the exhale, breathe out, capture the length that you've created and allow the front of your body to knit down with nice tension and core engagement. Breathe into more space, more length, and exhale, reach your heels away from your fingers and your fingers away from your heels. Take another deep inhale and reach the crown of your head long, 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 pulling your spine long. And then exhale, continue pulling long, but pull your tailbone away from your head. Take another inhale into your entire body, breathing east and west, north and south, expanding in all directions. And then exhale, allow some muscular tension to come into the front of your body, through your stomach, capturing all of that. Inhale, slowly breathe into your lats and your armpits and your triceps, reaching your hands away from your body. And an exhale, pull even more. We're going to do 2 more breath cycles. Big inhale in. And let's exhale and draw this exhale out very long and controlled. And as you exhale, make any adjustments you need to settle your hips, feet, shoulders, pelvis, rib cage, and hands. Our last breath, let's slowly breathe into our entire body and give a very relaxed and long exhale until we've exhaled everything out of our lungs. Allow your head, arms, hips, feet, and everything to relax. And let's just take a moment to take inventory of our entire body to see if we made positive change while we were moving for these last 30 minutes. If there's anything right now that we can do to support our body, and what we can do in the future or immediately after this to support our body. Slowly gonna make our way up into an alive place. Thank you so much for moving with us. This is the 30-minute total ground to standing recode, a recode that you can engage in every single day and cause some really big positive change in your body. My name is Coach Bam, joined today with Coach Carly. Thank you for joining us and good job.